Alright guys, Rich here from the RCNetwork, and I wanted to bring to you guys a little comparison of all of the different chassis, at least that I own. So let me tell you what I got and we can kind of go from there. The first one on the far left, that is the MIP chassis. It's part of their Pro4mance tuning kit for the SCTE. Now, obviously it's part of a whole kit. I believe you can buy it separately, but you kind of have to have a lot of the parts to make it all work. So that is the white one there on the far left. The middle one, that is the Tlr Flexed Tuned Lightened Chassis. Now that's part of the Tlr branding, so it is definitely a step up from the stock, which is on the far right, that pretty black one right there that's never been run. Now the black one is just the stock SCTE chassis. It comes on the ARR and also the ready-to-run version. So let's take a close look at all three chassis, and we'll kind of go from there, and I'll give you some weights and some all little interesting things that I've noticed. So let's look at the first one, the stock one. This one is aluminum. I don't believe they really list what type of aluminum. I'd be surprised if it's 7075, which is a harder aluminum than 6061. No cutouts, actually one slight cutout right there to lighten it. Other than that, it's just bone stock. The big issue with this chassis on a lot of forums and whatnot is people are bending them because they're just a softer aluminum. So that's that one. That's actually why I didn't even run this one. But I have it as a backup for my outdoor rig. The second one right here, this is the, God, and as I lift this up, it's definitely light. This is the TLR version of that same chassis, and you see all the cutouts here. God, they've cut out everything they could cut out to lighten this thing. Plus 7075, it is a anodized kind of goldish aluminum like all the TLR products out there. And let me give you a side-by-side comparison here of how many cutouts it really does have. I don't know if you guys can see that at the angle of the camera, but that's all the cutouts. So there we have those two chassis. And the MIP, you'll notice the biggest thing about it is it's just a lot wider. I mean, you look at the two TLR and the Losi, they just seem real kind of skinny. So let's look at some of the gussets and the cutouts on the MIP. As I grab the whole truck here, you'll see there's just a few of them. And this is 7075 aluminum. It is powder coated, which is definitely different from anyone else out there. You get a lot of notice at the track and whatnot. So that's the 7075 powder coated. As far as why is the MIP just wider, it just doesn't make sense. Well, let's do some weights first. The first one, let's start with the bone stock, the black one. That one, 281 grams. That's a heavy one. The TLR chassis, as TLR and Team Losi, they claim, takes over 70 grams of weight off. It does. The TLR, 202 grams. So stock 281, TLR 202. Quite a bit of difference. Now the MIP, you're thinking it must be lighter. Well, it's not. 266 grams. It's almost as heavy as the stock one at 281. Now these are my weights. This is on my scale. These could vary from the various websites out there that publish different weights and their magical scales that say everything doesn't weigh anything. So now here's the difference. MIP, you're just primarily running that chassis. When you want to run these other two chassis, you have to add some things to make it a full chassis. Let's show you what you have to add. First thing you have to add, and you're hearing this plastic clanking in the background, these two little mud skid guards and Nerf bars. So we'll add that to the scale. Now this may look different from your battery tray, but you can kind of see through to other things. I've lightened this thing quite a bit up. This is the battery tray ESC holder. My ESC holder is just a little bit thinner to fit just the RX-8, and that's it. And you can see that I've cut out a lot of things right here. I think 35 grams is what I took off this. I can't remember. The next thing is this plastic piece, which I don't really know what that does. That kind of keeps the chassis solid because it looks like those were maybe previous nitro chassis, and just kind of adds some weight and some other stuff. And the last thing, of course, is the radio tray servo mount that I really didn't modify yet because I got the MIP kit. So if you weigh all that stuff together, that comes up, and keep in mind I modded my battery tray, 164 grams. Now a stock battery tray, that added probably another 30 grams, so you're looking at almost 200 grams added to each one of those Team Losi and stock Losi chassis. So really, when you really compare it, the MIP is at 266. Well, the TLR, once you add all that stuff to it, you're at right over 400 grams. The stock, you're squeaking on almost 500 grams. So that's my take on the chassis. As far as the feel of them, never ran the stock one, at least in my indoor truck. The TLR one, it's a damn good chassis, I've got to say. But since I've run the MIP chassis and the whole tuning kit, it's just light years ahead, a lot lighter. So at least, you know, almost 200 grams lighter. So that's it for now. Just wanted to show you guys my take on the three chassis, at least that I own. I know there's JAMA, there's BCE, there's King Heads. There's a lot of different ones. I think there's a carbon chassis if you choose to run carbon on the bottom of your vehicle. But that's it. Any questions, throw them on down below. If you like the video, hit that like button. And as always, if you like my videos, hit the subscribe. I want to send you guys new videos every week. Over and out.